Welcome to another Thoughts on Leadership. The title this month is Who Are We Really? Interesting title to give it, but it's come out of my experiences in the last few weeks. I had really a great pleasure to be invited to Iran for a couple of speaking engagements. And I say it was a pleasure because I really did have a wonderful time. The people there are amazing, they are friendly, they are very hospitable, they're very warm, and not at all what the media presents them to be in the West. So I was intrigued, I think is the word, in going there to find what it would be like, and I was pleasantly surprised when I did get there. And indeed it was interesting to see the world through their eyes. Because, of course, we have our perception of what Iran is like, what the country stands for, what the people must be like. When you go around and actually visit them in their country, then you get to see what really is the situation and what it's like. And listening to the people, talking to their about their problems with them, hearing what the issues they face are, thinking about what their issues are and what they think of their own government, was all an enlightening experience. And it got me to thinking about myself. I had a moment of reflection. I was brought up in a very authoritarian household. My parents were real orthodox in their beliefs and very rigid in what they taught and they believed. So I was lived in and brought up in a very tight constraint. And of course, as many of those people who are brought up like that, they get to an age when they start to rebel. And they start to want to stand up and fight back and put their stamp on something, if you like. And of course, later in life I realized some of the stupidity of my actions. Maybe I shouldn't have behaved like that. Maybe I shouldn't have acted in the way I did when I was a little bit rebellious. I found the same in Iran. I couldn't help feeling that the way they see the world, that they were like I was at that age, where I just felt I couldn't do anything right. It just seemed that the whole world was so crowded in on them. There is nothing they're allowed to do, and they're treated like a child. And I felt the pain of what the average man in the street, is feeling now about the rest of the world. All of this got me to thinking about leadership. And I tried to think about it from a different point of view. I thought, as leaders, do we take the time to consider other people's points of view? Other people's points of view about us? What's people's view of us? I got a completely different view of the West from being in Iran than I did from being back in the West. And I think about myself. How do people perceive me? And then, coincidentally, I had a moment when I had a professional coach doing a session with me and started to talk about how I was perceived. And the person did a wonderful job of taking hold of me and bringing me around the other side and looking at me from a different point of view. Looking at me through the eyes of other people. Now, other people can be wrong. It's not about going around there and saying, oh, look, they're right, I'm wrong after all. But it's a matter of understanding how other people see me. I'm a very forthright person. I'm somebody who's very focused and very firm on certain things. And people sometimes see that as being arrogant or as being lofty or as being in some way aggressive. And even though I'm somewhat aware that I can come over in that way, completely unintentionally, it's not until I was brought around the other side and got a new fresh look at myself that I was able to really appreciate to the level I can be sometimes like that. So it was a wonderful experience for me. And really this month, that's what I'm asking you to consider. How have people seen you over the last year? You know, do they have the same view of you as you have of yourself? Do the way you are unintentionally come over in a completely different way? Do you come over as somebody who's not strong enough? Do you come over as somebody who's weak? Do you come over as somebody who's indecisive? Do you come over as somebody who's authoritarian, as aggressive, confrontational, soppy, wet? I mean, you know, how do people really see you? And you may think you know, and you may even be right, but to the level you know, you're not really going to find out unless you take the time to go around and see yourself from another point of view. So, I want to ask you some questions, as I always do every month. I want you to think about what you are and who you are. And these are my questions for the month. Do you know how others see you? Not what you think you see, but what they really do see. Are you able to stop being you and try to be that person who's working for you, or living with you, or just loves you, and see you from their point of view? Can you detach yourself for that moment and consider what the real implications of being you has on other people? Think about that. It's a strong person who's prepared to take that step and take a look and understand. I'm not asking you to look in a mirror. You might think, well, yeah, you're asking me to look up in a mirror. It's actually more than that. A mirror is only a reflection in reverse. I'm asking you to actually stop being you and go around and see you from somebody's eyes. Come around the other way and get their view of who you are. As leaders, I believe it's important that we understand this, because part of leadership is about integrity, it's about building relationships with people, and a lot of it has got to do with our ability to build that relationship with somebody and influence them. So it's about influencing. And you do that when you really understand the impact you have on other people. To the people of Iran that I visited, I thank them for the wonderful visit. I hope our nation's leaders do not let us down, and that sooner or later that we will all find the strength to focus on who we are and what our strengths are, rather than on what our perceived weaknesses are. To everybody else, I say, always stop and take the time to hear the other side of the story. It's worth it. It may not change you, but it will at least give you a fuller and more rounded picture so that you can make decisions from a genuinely clear point of view. Have a really great month. It's been a pleasure as always to see you, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Bye for now.